Welcome back to the fourth and final part of my predictions. If you missed the first three parts, please go back and watch it as it goes over my win-loss predictions for every team, my top 25 ranking, and my bowl projections. In this video, I will go over my top games of the regular season, the coaches on the hot seat, my All-American projections, and my Heisman Trophy contenders. Starting off with my games of the week, the only notable game in Week 0 is the overseas matchup in Dublin, Ireland, between Navy and Notre Dame. Florida State and LSU on Sunday night should be the highlight of Week 1 and could be a big tiebreaker in the college football playoff picture down the road. Note that these games and the games I'm going to show you in the upcoming graphics aren't my predictions of where college football game day will go. For example, they're not going to go overseas to Ireland. They're probably not going to do the Florida State LSU game because it's Sunday night. I know they tried going to a college town a maximum of once. I have a lot of games in Tuscaloosa here, so there's that. And also, I know they look forward to going to one game from the FCS division, and I don't have that here. So again, these are not my predictions of where I think game day will go, so I just wanted to throw that out there. As we move towards October and start conference play, the early slates aren't all that impressive. South Carolina played spoiler to Tennessee last season, and could give Georgia a scare this season. Nebraska and Michigan could be a fun game, because if Nebraska comes in undefeated, they would have 2 wins on the road against Power 5 teams under their belt. And the Florida State, Clemson, and Oklahoma-Texas matchups could be previews of college football championship games come December. Moving into the back half of the season, the matchup between Oregon and Washington in Week 7 could be an eliminator game for a berth in the Pac-12 championship game, since there's going to be a logjam at the top of the conference. All of those Pac-12 games are crucial in terms of tiebreakers. The stretch from Week 8 through Week 10 will be the 3 most significant weeks in college football. There are so many great games there that I'll mention in the next graphic. But the games in Week 8, 10, 11, 12, and 13 could all determine who wins their respective division and make it to the conference championship game. And these 9 games in this graphic are all games with tons of national significance that are worth mentioning. Many of these games will determine tiebreakers and who makes it to the conference championship game. Notre Dame has a couple of fun matchups. I mentioned the Navy one overseas. They play NC State in Carter-Finley Stadium, and NC State has won 16 out of 17 at home. They have the Clemson game, which I showed here. They have the Ohio State game, which I also showed here, and they also have a midseason game against USC. Tennessee beat Alabama last season. Texas A&M beat Alabama at home a couple of seasons ago, so I think both of those games have some upset value that Alabama should definitely be on the alert for. Utah has a 3-game win streak against USC. Texas has a 6-game win streak against Kansas State. Both of those games will be influential in their respective conference races. Another game worth mentioning is NC State and Clemson, which will be held in Carter-Finley Stadium in Raleigh, North Carolina. The Wolfpack beat Clemson at home 2 seasons ago, and if they beat Clemson this season, it could take Clemson out of the running for the ACC championship game. All of these matchups are huge in terms of the conference races and tiebreakers. Moving on to my coaches on the hot seat, I think we should be aware of these 5 coaches, although their seats aren't totally burning. In the case of Memphis, the Tigers have done really well in the 2010s, so expectations are naturally higher for Silverfield. So even though Silverfield has a winning record, he's just not meeting expectations. For Arkansas State and Miami, where both schools have also seen success in the 2010s, and in Miami's case, the past half-century, fan bases are getting rather impatient and hope to see their schools winning sooner rather than later. For Gonzalez and Hafley, it's just been a rough stretch over the past few years, and maybe it's time for a change at the helm in the near future. Here are the coaches that I think will be fired if they don't get their team to a bowl game. Fitzgerald, although having a winning record, has been awfully inconsistent. Despite winning the Big Ten West multiple times in recent memory, he hit new lows in 2022. Expectations at Texas A&M are naturally extremely high, and the fan base got very frustrated last season when Texas A&M placed first in recruiting and then failed to make a bowl game. For the other 3 teams, it's just been many years of mediocrity, which leaves a lot to be desired. Moving on to my All-American predictions, 3 of these players are on my Heisman contender list: Caleb Williams, Blake Corum, and Marvin Harrison Jr. Washington has arguably the best receiving trio in the nation, and Ohio State also has a lot to work with for this upcoming season. On the other side of the ball, Clemson has one of the best defenses in the nation. Georgia is very talented as well, no surprise there. And McKinstry plays a very big part in Alabama football, thriving on both defense and on special teams. And as we move on to the conference breakdown, you can see that the teams with multiple players from my list are college football playoff contenders. And while superstar talent is beneficial, You want to be a well-rounded team, so I don't think this is a completely accurate understanding of who will be the most talented teams and who has the best chance at the playoff in 2023, but these teams certainly do have a leg up on all of their opponents. And last but not least is my Heisman Trophy contenders. All these players on this graphic are elite, but I do think there's only an outside chance of any of these athletes earning the trophy. I like Jaden Daniels to be a pleasant surprise like he was last season. Cameron Rising must stay healthy if he wants a shot, and we'll see if Sam Hartman can compete after transferring schools. But this has really become a quarterback trophy as time progressed because these top 5 athletes have a clear advantage for the Heisman Trophy. You have a pair of ACC quarterbacks and a trio of Pac-12 quarterbacks. Caleb Williams is obviously the heavy threat since he won it last season. Washington's Michael Penix Jr. will get tons of help behind one of the best receiving corps in the nation. Drake May and Jordan Travis were pleasant surprises last season, and at Auburn, Bo Nix has established himself as a threat in the passing game. So lots of big names here, although I think we can all agree that Williams is the favorite at this point in the season. So that will wrap up the fourth and final part of my college football predictions. Be sure to check out the first 3 parts of my predictions if you missed it because they cover my win-loss predictions for every team, the standings outlook for each conference, my top 25 ranking, and my bowl projections. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What are your predictions? I'd love to know that, and thanks for watching.